Brought to you by Gamezy. Win up to rupees 5 crores every day. Download the app now.
It's a double header in the IPL, and in the first game, the Kolkata Knight Riders take on the Gujarat Titans. Well, the Knight Riders have hit a roadblock of sorts because they haven't won their last few games, and this game is really important for them. They really need to win this to get the campaign off and running once again, but in their way are the Gujarat Titans. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about the budget buys first. So among my budget buys from the Knight Riders, I have gone with Nitish Rana, who scored a 50 in the last game. In the last game, he started off well but threw his wicket away, and I'm hoping that this time he'll play sensibly and get some runs for KKR. Another player who was making a comeback in the last game, and I was really impressed by him, was Shivam Mavi. Even though the two games that he had played earlier, he gave away a lot of runs, but last game he gave away only 34 runs and took a wicket as well. So maybe you could have both of them in your side. For the Gujarat Titans, there's not a lot of budget buys that I want to keep in my side, but maybe if you're interested in keeping somebody who will bat at 3 or 4 down, Abhinav Manohar is one of the guys you can have in your team. And now let's talk about the overseas options. Overseas options. Well, for the Kolkata Knight Riders, we know Aaron Finch played a great innings last time, even though he couldn't help his side, get a victory along with Shreyas Iyer. But he did score a 50, and for that he'll keep his place in the side. We know Andre Russell and Sunil Narine will definitely be there. The only player who I'm not sure about, even though in the first few games you would have thought that Pat Cummins is a surety in the KKR lineup, but the fact is he won them a game, but that was with his batting. But in this side he's mainly there for his bowling, and unfortunately with the ball he has given away almost 200 runs, and that's a problem. So maybe because Tim Southee, when he was left out for Pat Cummins, he is still bowling well. Maybe this game they try and look at sort of getting Tim Southee in for Pat Cummins, but I'm not sure. With KKR, you never know, they might play Pat Cummins another game. Let's hope he comes to the party this time if he does get a chance again. For the Gujarat Titans, we know David Miller played that fantastic 94, won his side the game, and how he'll be there. Rashid Khan will be there. Alzarri Joseph, by the way, who came into the side in the last game, took a couple of wickets, and I think they're going to keep that combination, and the only change that we'll see in this side is that Hardik Pandya will come in. So Alzarri Joseph will be the third foreigner, and then fourth will be Lockie Ferguson again. So these four, in terms of the overseas options, I don't see any changes happening in both the sides that way. Only Pat Cummins for Tim Southee, maybe, not sure. But now let's talk about the captaincy choices. Captaincy choices. So for me, from the Kolkata Knight Riders, two guys who I'm looking at. One is Shreyas Iyer, who again last game was very close to that 100, that we haven't seen from a KKR player since that very first game in the 2008 IPL from Brendan McCullum. So I think Shreyas Iyer has finally come back to form, and his 85 would be a huge confidence booster, even though he would have felt so bad that he couldn't lead his side to victory. So Shreyas Iyer is a choice. Andre Russell is another. 2-3 overs he'll bowl, and the kind of hitting that he provides, it. So these two from the Kolkata Knight Riders. From the Gujarat Titans, there are a few options. Shuman Gill, after scoring those two good innings, you remember 180 odd runs, 196 if I'm not wrong. So those two innings he looked so good. Shuman Gill can be a choice because he has to come to the party again. We have seen him do this. One game he has done really well, one game not so well. So maybe this time he'll come to the party. Another guy who I believe will come into the side, the captain Hardik Pandya, who was missing from the team in the last game, and this game I'm hoping if he's back, he's again a great choice. 4 overs he'll give you, and he'll bat two down for the Gujarat Titans. So those two, and Rashid Khan again. The kind of batting prowess he showed in the last game, that 40 odd runs were very, very crucial. In fact, it was his batting against Chris Jordan that for me was the turning point, even though David Miller was doing really well at the other end. But Rashid Khan changed the face of the game. So those are my captaincy choices. Now let's look at my fantasy 11 for this game. So in my 11, I have gone in with Aaron Finch, there's Shuman Gill, there's Nitish Rana, Shreyas Iyer, David Miller is there because after that 94, I was really impressed. Even though I thought that David Miller really hasn't fired in the last few IPL seasons, but that innings again showed that the kind of quality he brought. I think so. He's doing well this season, and maybe you can also have him in your side again. Sunil Narayan is there, Andre Russell is there, there's Hardik Pandya, Rashid Khan, Shivam Mavi, and my final 11th player is Lockie Ferguson. So that's my fantasy 11 for this game. Now let's talk about the second game. A crucial game for both sides because RCB have done really well and SRH are also, I think they've won 4 games in a row. So definitely a very exciting clash. Now let's talk about the budget buys first. So budget buys from the RCB, I'm only looking at one player frankly, and that is Shahbaz Ahmed. Bowled 4 overs, hardly gave away any runs. Economy around 6, and the fact that he's been batting so well this season, definitely a pick you should have in your side if you're looking at budget buys from the RCB team. For Sunrisers, there are a few options of course, but I personally prefer the 2 bowlers, and that's T. Natarajan and Umran Malik. Picked 4 wickets in the last game. Umran Malik finally last 2 games he's looked really good, and Natarajan again will bowl at the death. So I think these 2 are also sure shot picks for your budget buys from these 2 sides. Overseas options, RCB and SRH both, I actually don't see any changes happening in terms of the overseas personnel. I think Faf du Plessis will play, Glenn Maxwell will play, there'll be Vanindu Hasaranga who only bowled 2 overs in the last game, but again you won't drop him from your side because he can bat a bit also, and I think so this game he might bowl 4 overs, his full quota as well. Went for a few runs, but he'll keep his place in this side. And Josh Hazlewood, what a spell he bowled, got RCB back into the game, and Lucknow had, Lucknow couldn't hit him out of the park when they really needed to hit those 6s, those 4s. So Josh Hazlewood again a great pick. For Sunrisers, even though Williamson has, it's like a switch. Some days it's on, some days it's off. Again, last game scored 3 runs only, but you know the kind of player he is. So Williamson will definitely be there. There'll be Aiden Markram, there'll be Nicholas Puran, and there'll be Marco Janssen. So those are the overseas options from their last games, and I don't think they're going to make any changes to them. Captaincy choices. I thought Faf du Plessis really played well last time around. Glenn Maxwell is another great pick. Always gets those big runs. 23 runs he scored in such quick time. I thought he could go and get a 50, 60, and maybe this is the game he'll get them. And it's a very big game for both sides. I would have also thought about Virat Kohli, but it's unfortunate that he's not been in form, hasn't scored many runs except that 48 he scored. Apart from that, really hasn't fired, and not looking forward to making him captain. Among the bowlers, you could look at somebody like a Harshal Patel again. Last game, he went for a few runs but picked up a couple of wickets. And because he bowls those, the death overs, the difficult overs for his side, you sometimes get wickets also. And the way Harshal has been bowling previously, I think he's going to make the Indian squad. And he's a great pick if you want to take a punt in terms of your captains. So Faf du Plessis can be one. Glenn Maxwell, a great choice because he'll bowl also. And then there's Harshal Patel from the RCB. Now, captaincy choices from Sunrisers Hyderabad. I think for me, my personal favorite from the SRH side is Rahul Tripathi. Every game that he has played, he has looked good. Last time couldn't, sort of continue with the kind of start he got, but the way he's been batting, maybe again he'll score a few runs for his side. So Rahul Tripathi is a great choice. T. Natarajan again because of the fact that he bowls those difficult overs, death overs, and he always ends up getting a few wickets, 2 wickets, 3 wickets here and there. And if I'm not wrong, he's just behind Yuzvendra Chahal and Kuldeep Yadav in the top wicket takers list. So I think Natarajan is also a great choice. So now finally let's look at my fantasy 11 from this game. So fantasy 11, I've gone with Faf du Plessis, Glenn Maxwell is there. Among the SRH players, I've picked Abhishek Sharma, I've picked Rahul Tripathi, I've picked Aiden Markram also. Among the keepers, I've gone with Dinesh Karthik because what he's having a dream season, boss. Amazing, amazing batting prowess he has shown this season. Definitely a pick. You should have him in your side. There's Shahbaz Ahmed, there's Harshal Patel, and then T. Natarajan, Umran Malik, and Josh Hazelwood. That completes my 11, guys. But make sure that you download the app through the link below in the description. The Gamezy app, you can make your team before the game starts, during the mid-innings break, and then you can make your side for those 5 overs contest 8 times in a single match. And plus, it's a double header, guys. You can win up to 5 crore rupees in daily prizes. So what are you waiting for? Download the app right now. Thank you for watching.